I remember the exact moment when my pulse slowed into ice, the moment when love turned into a knife at my back. My name is Helena Montez, 35 years old, senior bank executive in New York City, a title that sounds polished and perfect but hides ambition sharp enough to cut steel. Anyone looking at me behind the glass walls would see success, the crisp suits, the quiet authority, the smile that means nothing and everything, but they would not see the war I fought to get here. Behind the salary figures and the boardroom deals, I had built a reserve of wealth that no one at the bank suspected, a shield for the storms I always knew would come. The storm arrived in the form of my husband, a man I once thought I loved beyond reason. We had met years ago at a gala, charm dripping off him like honey, ambition burning in his eyes, promising me partnership in both life and business. I said yes to the proposal, yes again to the vows, and again every time he whispered that we were a team. But teams do not plot each other's downfall. He did. It started with small signs, my ideas in meetings being presented as his own, my contacts suddenly finding themselves drawn to him, my name fading from credit reports while his glowed. I told myself it was stress, marriage tension, maybe just a misunderstanding. Then came the day I discovered the real betrayal. Hidden accounts, funds siphoned from ventures I alone had built, moves timed to weaken my position before a major board vote. My hands shook, but my voice stayed strong. I invited him to lunch under the skylight of the executive dining hall, just as he always liked, pretending I knew nothing. But inside, I was scripting my revenge with the precision of a deal closing. In that moment, I decided the battlefield would not be our home or a lawyer's office. No, it would be the boardroom itself. If you love Helena's journey, like and subscribe to join her next chapter. The day arrived like a storm with no sky. I wore my black suit, sharp enough to cut, hair pulled back to show my face without distraction. Every member of the board was present, seated in a circle around the polished table. My husband sat at the far end, confident, smiling, ready to push through a vote that would grant him control over one of our most profitable departments, my department. I waited until the official agenda had been read, and then, in front of them all, I laid out documents, each page a weapon. Evidence of the accounts, the transfers, the dates he had moved against me, each signature crisp on the page. The air in the room changed. Conversations stilled, breaths caught, the scent of polished wood and strong coffee mixing with tension so thick it could be bitten. His face shifted from smug to pale, his hands clutching the armrests as though the leather could save him. I spoke clearly, slowly telling the board that betrayal from within cannot be tolerated, whether from a junior analyst or from someone tied to you by vows. His seat was not just stripped from the decision, it was vacated entirely. In one move, with a unanimous vote, the man who once called himself my partner was removed from every aspect of the bank's leadership. The divorce papers were signed that same week in an office where I refused to sit on the same side of the desk. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I refused to give him the satisfaction of seeing emotion. When he left, just before closing his final folder, he glanced at me with eyes that still tried to charm, as if asking whether mercy might spill from me. But mercy had no place in the balance sheet of what he had done. Justice had been served, cold and deliberate, with no room for doubt. In the weeks after, whispers trailed me everywhere. Admiration, shock, envy. My fortune remained mine, untouched. My position not only stood, but strengthened. The lesson sank deep for everyone watching. I am not to be underestimated, in business or in love. Even now, I remember the feel of that pen in my hand, the slight rasp of paper under my fingers, the click of the boardroom door as it closed behind him for the last time. The marriage was gone. The business thrived. Some call that loss. I call it victory. And maybe, in some cold corner of my heart, I thank him. He made me sharper, faster, untouchable. There was a time I thought love meant trust. Now I know it means never losing yourself, no matter who promises to stand beside you. That day, I said yes to love and no to being a victim. I divorced him in the boardroom, and when the door shut, the empire was mine alone. If you want to hear more of how I turned betrayal into power, follow my voice into the next chapter. You will not believe what came after.